that just joined. Welcome to, one second, there we go. Welcome to Hiring New in 2022 webinar series. The world has changed over the past 2.5 years, and so is hiring. So these webinar series are really designed to talk about all things recruitment, specifically at CMS. But today we're going to talk about something a little different. We're going to focus on LinkedIn because we understand as an agency and as an organization that recruits and seeks talent, that LinkedIn is a big part of your kind of recruiter toolkit. So my name is Sean Forbes. I'm a recruiter here at CMS, and I've been with the agency for just over 6 years now. As you may have saw, the webinar will be recorded and will be posted to YouTube. My colleague will post the link in the chat box below. We do have interpreters on the line and closed captioning if needed. Please click on the CC or the 3 dots down below. After this webinar today, a follow-up email will be sent, which will include the slides. And if you do have any questions throughout the presentation, please be sure to include them in the Q&A box. My colleague will be answering them there. And then if there's time at the end, we'll take some questions as well. But without further ado, thanks for joining, and let's talk about LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, we're going to be talking about building your professional brand. Really, LinkedIn has become, well, the world's largest professional social network. So it's really important for you to have a presence on there because this is the tool that recruiters and organizations are using as well. So again, I've already mentioned, I'm Sean, and I'm a recruiter with CMS. So we'll talk about our agenda today. We'll talk about why LinkedIn. We'll take a look at and build a profile, and then we'll talk about growing your network. So why LinkedIn? I mentioned it's the world's largest professional social networking site. I think worldwide there's over 800 million users, and in the US alone there's over 190 million users on the site. LinkedIn is really just it's blown up, not just over these past few years, but I think within the past few years there's been 200 million new users throughout the site. And a recent study found that over 122 million people received an interview through LinkedIn, with 35.5 million have been hired through someone they connected with on the site. So networking with this large of an audience is really just a key function of LinkedIn. There's a good chance that somebody knows somebody in an industry you're looking to get into. I find LinkedIn is a lot more, I would say, a lot more receptive and less personal to reaching out and making contacts. If someone what's considered a second or third degree, so essentially a contact of a contact, they're more open to accepting your your follower connection rather than something on Instagram or Facebook. So we always encourage people to get out there and network and connect with people on the platform, either in the industry that you're looking to get into, your current industry, or your current school or your current organization. You really just want to keep growing your network. Next, we'll talk about the job search. So LinkedIn has really grown to becoming one of the leaders in the industry for kind of a job board hub, so to speak. Right now, there's over 50,000 remote jobs that are available in the US that are posted on LinkedIn. 40 million people use LinkedIn every day or every week to search for jobs. And the last stat I saw was about 3 people are hired every minute on LinkedIn. So just using LinkedIn as a job search tool, it's a very powerful way to include your job search. Not just for private sector, but I know a lot of federal agencies as well are posting jobs through LinkedIn. And next, recruiting. This really ties into that job posting that federal agencies are doing, because along with posting jobs, federal agencies are also recruiting on LinkedIn. And just kind of, I guess, global, over 20,000 companies use LinkedIn to recruit, and 94% of recruiters use LinkedIn to vet candidates. CMS is no exception to that statistic. As a recruiter, we definitely use LinkedIn to find and source candidates. So what can you do to make sure you stand out? Well, it's really about building your profile and having a strong presence on LinkedIn. This doesn't mean you don't have to be a content creator. You don't have to post every day. It really starts at your profile. So what we're going to do, and I find it easiest, is to, instead of looking at slides of a profile, we'll just look at a live profile. We'll kind of walk through the profile, and I'll just discuss things and provide some tips. So we're going to take a look at my profile. I'm not saying it's the best out there. I'm sure it isn't, but like I said, LinkedIn, they also refresh content so quickly. It's just nice to look at a profile live on the site rather than looking at something on slides. So like I said, we're gonna start at the top and then work our way down. So the first two things you should always start with is a cover or a background photo here, and a profile photo or a profile image here. I say this because LinkedIn is really big on profile completeness. It really matters to LinkedIn that your profile is filled out and that you're essentially an active for candidates on LinkedIn. They want to show the people who are most active and have most complete profiles first in the search results. So having a completed cover photo or background photo or a profile photo will really go a long way in helping your profile completeness. I think the last stat I saw was that users with a profile photo show up 16 times more in searches than users who don't. So make sure you have a background photo and a profile picture. I've been asked before if what if I'm not comfortable of having an image on, or my picture on LinkedIn. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can put a logo of the school you went to. You could also just find an image, a default image of a user icon. It just looks like that grayed out icon, and you can upload that there. I don't know if LinkedIn approves of that tactic, but they're really looking for profile completeness, and if that's not something you're comfortable with, that's an option for you. As far as the background photos, that can be really anything, something that shows off your personality, maybe a hobby, again, the school you attended. You also have the ability to LinkedIn creates background photos for you, so custom images that you can choose from. A lot of these are really great. So if you're unsure, what you want to add, LinkedIn has built some out for you. As we move down through the profile, these are just some very basic things, but I want to make sure I point them out. So under your name here, this is a customizable field. You can put really anything you want here. You should be focusing on just a quick statement about yourself, and then maybe the industry you're looking to move into. So if you've recently graduated, you could state that, and then looking for a career in in such and such. You really want to let people know up front what you're looking to do. As you'll see in my profile, since I'm a recruiter, it's really tailored to people who may be looking for more information about CMS. Make sure you include your company that's updated and listed, as well as your university or where you went to college. Moving down, this is just basic kind of behind the scenes stuff. Now we'll talk about the about section. So again, as I said, mine's more tailored towards getting people more information. But this should be your your elevator pitch. Should give a recruiter or a hiring manager or someone a real clear picture of what you're looking to do. I've seen this written first or third person. It can be either way. That's really a personal preference, and there's no right or wrong answer to that. But yeah, that should be your quick elevator pitch, and just give a quick snapshot on who you are as a person and what you're looking to do. Here's a nice area that I think a lot of people don't complete, but they should. So if you can use this featured area so if you've shared content on LinkedIn, so if you've posted, you've shared links, or you just shared other people's content, you can just add that to your profile and it'll show up as a featured section. So recently CMS was featured as one of America's best large employers. So I wanted to make sure people knew that about CMS, as well as we recently won a Handshake Award for early talent. So things like that, I want people to be aware of, CMS. So you can, so if you've just for like looking for an example for like how you could use it, if you've been published, anything like that, or if there's anything that you've shared, that relates to a project you've worked on, anything like that, you can feature it here. Next, we'll talk about the experience portion. This piece is pretty important, because this is where one of the areas recruiters are really looking at to understand your professional experience. So this does not have to be it's not meant to be a mirror of your resume. It's not a resume replacement, but it should give recruiters or hiring managers a good idea of your experience. So what I recommend is, just the basics of making sure everything is up to date and accurate, but then provide just a one paragraph, I think is simple enough, of the experience you have, at that company. So, so all of mine are just a quick, one paragraph explanation of what I did for this organization. One of the unique things you can do on LinkedIn that you may not have like room for in a resume is you can add what's called media to any of your experience. So for instance, when I was with the FDA, we worked on the Real Cost campaign. So you're able to go in there and then add a link, or if it's say you were published or anything like that, or you've just worked on a project, you can hyperlink that, you can add a PDF, you can add a document, you can add a graphic. There's a lot of things you can add here in media that really just kind of reinforces the work that you did. It's a great way to kind of just break out and showcase some of those projects that you worked on. But it's kind of the same, just going down, again, just a quick snapshot of the work that you did. If there's anything you want to highlight, that you're especially proud of, please be sure to include that. I think it's great insight for recruiters and hiring managers. So next, education, just make sure that that's up to date and accurate. And licenses and certifications. So if you've taken any, online courses or in person courses that have led to a certificate, or some sort of training included here in this section. I know also LinkedIn has a great training platform as well, that you can take their online training courses, and then once you complete them, you can just click a button and it'll automatically add to your profile. Again, I think it's great to showcase all of your experience on LinkedIn, but it's also going back to that profile completeness. You really want to make sure you have something in all of these areas, just to make your profile that much more complete. If you volunteer, or if you volunteered anywhere, make sure to include that information. And then next, skills. So if you learn anything today, please take away the skills section is very, very important. So skills is essentially what recruiters use to search for candidates. So we can also search by job titles, location, things like that. But skills are very important when it comes to LinkedIn candidate searches. It's how you'll effectively break out in a search. So you want to make sure that your skills section is up to date. If it's a career you're trying to get into, and you have some at least education in it, make sure you add it as a skill. Because again, this is how recruiters are really finding and sourcing for candidates, is based on this skill section. I think you can have up to, I think it's 53 skills listed. So even if you've done it in the past, it's always nice to go back and just kind of, do an audit on it and make sure that these skills are actively reflecting what you want to do in your career. And then recommendations. So LinkedIn used to focus heavily on this. It's not as big as it once used to be, but you can still go out and give recommendations or receive them. So if you're just coming out of college and you'd like a recommendation from a professor, this would be one good place for that to be. And then projects. So if you've worked on any big projects, if you've presented at any major, or just not, I wouldn't say major, but just any conference, or if you've done like poster presentations, things like that, include that here under projects. It's a great way to showcase some of that work that doesn't always make it into a resume. And then any honors or awards that you may have received, there's a place for that as well. So make sure you include that. But really, again, it goes back to profile completeness and just making sure that your profile's complete, and so that you do show up in the kind of higher end of the searches, just because that's what LinkedIn's algorithm is really looking for. So that's pretty much the profile recommendations. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer those. At the end, we'll jump back over to the presentation and just to talk about a few more things about LinkedIn and why it's important. So we talked about growing your network, but we'll talk about some of the kind of the easier ways to do that. So the first one is just connect with the people you already know. Those are people you currently work with, you currently in school with. Those are just the people that are kind of already around your orbit. That's the easiest way to that's the first step, is just connect with those people. And then reconnect with contacts you've lost touch with. Those can be colleagues from previous companies, when you attended school, things like that, or reach out to those contacts. Like I said, it's less personal on LinkedIn, so people are more I guess, more accepting of connecting on LinkedIn and accepting those follower requests. Because really, you just want to you broaden your reach and your network out as much as possible. And then LinkedIn will always provide you with new connection recommendations. So its algorithm will take a look at your industry, your past organizations, and provide recommendations for people to connect with. I find this is a great way if I'm looking to talk to folks in a different organization. You connect with those people and then reach out to them and start that conversation. I find people are extremely receptive to have those conversations on LinkedIn. So that is the end of my slides. I want to stop for a minute and see if there are any questions. Okay.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah.
If you take a look at the Q&A, we just had one come in.
Okay, let me see. Let's go. I will stop sharing. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just, as I read. So the question essentially was, if you took a break, how do you represent that on your profile, and does taking a break put your profile down? To answer your question, no, it doesn't. It doesn't put your profile down. And I would just list it, chronologically exactly how you have it, and you can include your experience in there. For in this instance, it was for higher studies, for business school. So you can include there that you're currently attending business school, and you can even add in the experience on what you're currently studying and what you're looking to do, maybe post business school. The next question is, how do I get federal agencies to recruit me on LinkedIn? Well, that's a great question. I think so. Here's the thing about recruiting on LinkedIn, that because we're a federal agency, everyone still has to go through USA Jobs. So we will reach out to candidates that we think may be qualified for a position, and then refer them to the USA Jobs posting, where they would still have to apply and go through the qualification process there. What we are really doing is looking for those applicants who would be a good fit. So to answer your question, really, again, it's about making sure your profile is complete and that your skills section is filled out and complete in the industry that you're looking to get into. So for instance, like health policy is a keyword you can put on there for skills, public policy, things like that get pulled in to, I would say, typical recruiter searches for CMS. All right, great questions. Let's see. So the next question, is it standard practice to send connection requests to recruiters after applying for a job posting via LinkedIn? Yeah, absolutely. Especially if that recruiter is listed on that job posting. That's kind of what they're looking to do, is connect with people. I know when we post because we can add our profile to job postings, we do that is if anybody has any questions, they can reach out to us. So absolutely, I would send a connection request to the recruiter if you've connected with them on LinkedIn already. I think that's 100% appropriate. And let's see, going through the questions. So I see there's a question about, is LinkedIn the favorite over USA Jobs to be recognized? No, I wouldn't say it's the favorite. LinkedIn is just one tool we use out of many to search for candidates. Again, if you are interested in a federal position, you will have to apply through USA Jobs. So Really, for us, LinkedIn is a tool to find potentially qualified applicants and refer them to USA Jobs. There's a question: how do we navigate applying for job opportunities for CMS? Do you typically post on LinkedIn, or is it primarily through USA Jobs? So both, I guess, is the best answer. So for we use a few other tools as well to make sure that we're kind of casting a wide net so that people are being exposed to job opportunities. We want as many people to see them as possible, so that it's just more opportunities for people rather than just only posting on USA Jobs. So it's kind of a long way to answer that we post on several sites, not just LinkedIn. Will CMS use LinkedIn for recent graduates for the pathway positions? So yes, we do post those on LinkedIn as well as other more college early talent focused websites. But we do from time to time source talent on LinkedIn for college students to apply. Again, it's everyone still has to apply on USA Jobs. We're just kind of guiding and helping kind of bring light to that posting. Let's see, just taking a look at the questions. Could including too much experience be a deterrent to recruitment? No, I don't think so. We kind of say as recruiters here and tell candidates that if it's relevant experience, experience doesn't expire. You can include that that information on your profile if it is relevant experience to either the job field you're currently in or the industry you're looking to kind of break into. Let's see. Let's see. So how do you present a profile with mostly coursework and less practical experience in the field? So I think you can include, if it's primarily in school, like what you studied, if you've been published, if you worked on any reports, really focus on what that coursework taught you, and because you have, as this said, you have less practical experience in the field. So really just highlighting what you learned or what you worked on through coursework, because there are positions in the federal government where you can be hired based off of education and not experience. So yeah, make sure you put that information in there, and explaining your coursework and what you learned. So should I put personal goal pursuit or break into my experience to represent the break? I believe that's referring to a previous question that was answered. Yeah, so I think you can present or put that personal goal pursuit and like break into your experience. So I think there's a combination of the two. So if you want to list that business school as your your present experience, you can do that. You can share a little insight of either why you went back to school and then what you're looking to accomplish. These are all great questions. Thank you. So what can recruiters do for us on LinkedIn or on USA Jobs? Can they help us get an interview? So that's a tough one. So what we can do for you on LinkedIn is we can have a conversation about career opportunities at CMS. We can take a look and provide some guidance on your profile. I don't want to say, well, we review resumes, because resume reviews happen after you apply. And we can talk to you a little bit about the benefits at CMS, and just the culture at CMS, and then we'll also help you navigate the federal application process of what to look for in the job announcement. What is when we say specialized experience, what does that mean? So we can help you kind of navigate that process and kind of be, I just call it like a USA Jobs coach to help you, apply. Let's see. So where do you see job postings on LinkedIn for CMS? I can share a link in just a minute about this, but they are listed on the CMS company page. There's a tabs job for jobs, and all of our jobs that are posted to LinkedIn can be found there. Just taking a look at a few more questions. How are we doing on time? Great. Let's see. So what is the best way to communicate little experience in a new field industry? I recently switched industries and getting a degree in a new one, trying to also gain experience. I want to know how to present this in a professional way on LinkedIn. So I think that's really where your about section comes into play. I think it's really important, because that section also appears to recruiters and hiring managers. So just to make sure you explain of what you're trying to do, maybe why you switched industries, and how you're trying to gain new experience. I think kind of telling that story in the about section is really helpful, but then also again in that professional experience section, if you're currently in school, you can list that as experience, and then demonstrate what, and talk about what your coursework is, and what you're looking to do once you get that new degree. Great question. How do you present a profile with some education? So I think just making sure your education section is filled out, with what you do have. But then if your I would say profile is more experience heavy, just make sure you really talk about that in your experience section, and break that out, and include any achievements, or any like major projects you've worked on, really just to kind of build that up.
Sean, if you scroll all the way down to the last question, I think
Yes.
that's your last one.
Let's see. Yes, so great question. I will summarize it really quick for everybody viewing, but how do I tailor my career switch when writing my pitch on LinkedIn? I started off on healthcare administration positions, and I've just finished my master's in public health, minus school projects I did during internship and research. I don't have any paid jobs yet in public health. Can I highlight school projects and presentations to apply for jobs? Yes, absolutely. There is a section for school, or for projects and presentations, that you can highlight that. So I think I mentioned it earlier. So if you did like poster presentations, things like that, or any school projects that you've worked on, you can include that in the project section on LinkedIn. Also, under the education piece, you can include kind of your experience there and your coursework. I would definitely include what you did during your internship. You can actually add an experience section for that internship, and really just highlight everything you did. as well as the research. I would include that as well. You can include that under projects section on LinkedIn. But I think that's a good way for people to kind of understand your experience in that field without, kind of having, a paid job in that field yet. Let's see.
And I think that does it. I think we can answer the rest through the Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Great questions, everybody. Thank you for being really engaged. I'm excited, and I know we're all here to, help answer, any and all questions that we can. So thank you again. And thank you for, for registering today and taking the time to hang out with us today. And, and a big thank you to my colleagues who are monitoring the Q&A box. Thank you all very much. And just as a reminder, everyone who pre-registered will receive a follow-up email with the slides. And that this video will also be posted to YouTube during the probably the second or third week of October. And also we host these webinars every first and third Wednesday. So please don't forget to register for our other webinars. Our next one is October 6th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Advancing Health Equity. Advancing Health Equity at CMS Part 2, Exploring Our Path to Equity in 2022. And I forgot to mention, and I know it just popped up, but we launched a poll. As we continue to find new ways to expand and improve recruitment and outreach services, let us know how we did today. Your feedback and your input is really helpful and kind of guiding this webinar for the future. So please take the poll. It really helps us out a lot. And thanks again.
All right. Thanks so much, Jay.
Yes, thank you.